Good morning, Force fans. Shane here. How are we all? So, I thought I'd do a little coffee and a Black Series chat video this morning. The only problem is I don't have any coffee. Looked in the cupboard, not there. So I'll have to go and get some at some point. But I'm all good. I've got a glass of water. That'll do me for the moment. So yeah, I've not done a long form video or a chat for a couple of days now, so I figured I'd put one out there. So I did have a little think over the weekend, last weekend, of my next batch of purchases. I've got Commander Thorn on the way today from the Clone Wars. Can't wait to get that figure looked at, and I'll put a review of it up also. I've also pre-ordered the Embo and is it Kaidu, the dog. I've ordered that set as well, only because it looks quite cool and I can use Embo in a kind of Clone Wars setting, you know, even though he's not in the correct coloured garbs. But no doubt Hasbro at some point will do a Clone Wars version. But yeah, there's been a lot of anger online, on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, about Hasbro prices and stuff like that. I'm kind of done with it myself. It was only really affecting the TVC community, which is bad anyway, because, you know, TVC is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But yeah, there was a lot of ire, there was a lot of moaning, a lot of bitching, a lot of people threatening, you know, to check out of the collecting, and, you know, and then there was a lot of infighting, and it's just unnecessary for me. But it seems to have died down a little bit at the moment, so I'm hoping now that the community can go away, can have a think of things, and we could all just join in now on the road to 2027, which I think is going to be an absolute banger of a year. I really do. I mean, Hasbro have been singing the praises of 2027 for at least 2 years now. So they must have some cool stuff in the bag for everyone, you know. Someone asked me the other day, a friend of mine asked me whether or not the 50th anniversary is mostly going to be centered around A New Hope. And I don't think it will. I think it's going to be 50 years of the brand as a whole. But I do think we're going to get quite a lot of New Hope stuff, especially in Black Series. I think they'll bring out some real surprises. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we get a Garandan next year. Obviously, it's recently been done in TVC. I'd love to see a Garandan. I'm wondering if we'll get like another diorama piece with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader on the Death Star. Be a good excuse to give us a new Darth Vader with pinless knees, a cloth goods robe and cape. But I just hope the cape's a little bit more defined than the Empire Strikes Back one, which, as you know, was absolutely massive. And a brand new Ben Kenobi. Although the Cantina Showdown Ben Kenobi still stands up quite well. The only thing I don't like about it is the plastic skirt. I prefer that to be a soft goods rather. Purely because if there was ever an opportunity to swap them out at some point, I could at least get one that sits in the land speeder with Luke for my little Tatooine setup. Yeah, I think we will see a fair bit of original trilogy stuff. Someone was saying online the other day, you know, and they were quite matter-of-fact about it, and they were saying, oh, yeah, well, Hasbro are going to give us the Max Rebo band, they're going to give us a load of Cantina aliens, they're going to give us a load of Jabba's Palace denizens. I don't think they will. I think Hasbro are acutely aware that the longer they delay the making of certain figures, the less chance people have of just checking out of the line. But then on the other hand, if they wait too long, people are going to get bored anyway. So if I was a betting man, I reckon we're going to get at least Garandan and some form of A New Hope Cantina alien next year. And I think in the intervening years, I think they will start giving us a few Jabba's palace denizens, I think. You know, it's clearly a want there, clearly a demand. There's no other, apart from obviously 375, there's no other line or company that are making those particular figures. I did recently see the Mafex Bossk, which is coming out, and I will pre-order that. I think the pre-orders go up on Monday the 24th of August, and that figure looks absolutely phenomenal. I was looking at the high-res images. He seems a little bit skinny, so I don't know if they've taken the inspiration from Bossk's Clone Wars cartoon appearance, or it's their own idealization of the Empire Strikes Back Bossk on the Executor, or the Executor rather. But either way, looks a fantastic figure. You know, it can actually hold its blaster properly, you know, which is something that the Black Series version really does fail to do. But I do love the Black Series Bossk. I still do. It's got, you know, even the archive re-release, you know, it's a special figure to me, that one. It's a special figure to me. It still holds up, I think. Apart from the articulation in the bicep and arms, if they could just do a slightly deeper cut in the arms there, just to allow, and a little bit more range of motion in the wrists, I think it would look like a pretty damn good character. But yeah, I'm totally looking forward to 2027. I really cannot wait. I'm in the process now of putting a little bit of money aside, you know, to try and pick up those bangers that come out. I watched Attack of the Clones last night, and I gotta be honest with you, I really enjoyed watching that film from start to finish again. Don't always delve into the prequels that often. I do watch them every couple of years, but I really fancied watching Attack of the Clones last night, and it got me thinking about how much we need a brand new Padawan Anakin in the Black Series, plus a completely retooled Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. I used to own the original versions that come out in the line. I don't know if I've said this before, but I did sell on quite a lot of Black Series figures a couple of years back, just for making space. And I was in a place where I was like, I'm just going to stick to original trilogy. But then, you know, as time goes on, and, you know, I'm wiser now. All right. Yeah, so 2027, I think, is going to be a really great year for the Black Series. Number one, we've got that brand new sleek packaging. Now, I'm not a packaging guy, but when I saw the packaging with the Amidala figure, which I believe is going to be the first figure released in the first wave, I was impressed. I'm not quite sure of the reasoning behind removing the from the Black Series. It seems a little bit odd, you know, but, you know, they're reinventing the line, and the fact that they're reinventing the line gives me a lot of hope that we might finally see them really delving back into a lot of the characters that we desperately need. And I'm not just talking main characters. I'm talking, you know, your background aliens, you know, the odd Imperial officers here. I got a feeling that that you know, they've put a lot of thought into it. So I think they're going to be finally giving us the character line as we've all always wanted it to be, fully, without endless repaints and repacks and clones and, you know, all sorts, you know. So yeah, I'm 100% on board with it. Nate from Out of the Basement put up a video recently about the new packaging, and the fact that on the back of the box it's got slots for various new characters. And I think one of the brand team mentioned that there's a reason why they've done Amidala as the first character. So I'm much on the line, much in agreement with Nate there, really, in the fact that I think that they're going to give us a figure from The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi in that initial first wave. I really, really hope that they don't give us main character figures like we've had before. I don't want to see I don't want to see another farm boy Luke at this stage. I don't want to see another Han Solo, a Chewie, you know, or anything like that. If I was going to give my choices, obviously we got Amidala. If they were going to do a figure from Attack of the Clones, I'm hoping it's Zam Wesell, because I think that would be absolutely incredible to see that changeling finally in 6-inch. For Revenge of the Sith, I'm hoping that they might give us maybe a Lot Dodd, you know, the Neimoidian, or one of the the banking clan dudes, or Wat Tambor. For A New Hope, I'm hoping it's going to be either Garandan, but I would be absolutely over the moon if they give us a 6-inch Captain Antilles, because that would just pair perfectly with my 3D printed Tantive setup. I'd love that figure so much. Empire Strikes Back, I'm torn with this one. I want Lobot. I do want Lobot in the line, but if they were going to give us a figure from Empire Strikes Back, I would like it to be 2-1B, just to put a droid out in that particular wave. 2-1B definitely, or a single Ugnaught perhaps. Although then again, I mean, I'd rather 2 in a pack, but you know. But for Return of the Jedi, now this is one where I would make an exception for a brand new Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, with the I can't say that word for some reason today. The soft goods robe, or cloak rather, you know, the proper tunic, the gloved hand, you know, super articulated, you know, Mark Hamill likeness as best they possibly can. That guy just seems absolutely impossible to get right for whatever reason. I don't know why, but yeah, that, because you know they promised that Luke, if the Rancor was backed, and then they haven't, you know, and they didn't release it, which brings me to a point which I just want to talk about, you know, give my opinion on it. When TVC has a HasLab and certain tiers are not missed, certain tiers are missed rather, even though it's backed, but they don't quite get to a particular tier, such as the Cantina and the Wolf guy, Ariel Schus. It seems to me that a tier can fail regardless with TVC, but ultimately they will get the figure. They may not get the figure on the promised card back, you know, had it, you know, successfully funded all the way with every tier, you know. So they often release the figure then, but on a different card back. That, okay, I get it, but I wish that they would do that for that particular Luke Skywalker that we didn't get with the Rancor. You know what I mean? I mean, the tiers for that Rancor were rubbish anyway. The bones look cool, don't get me wrong. The Luke looked, you know, for a digital render, looked absolutely brilliant as well. Absolutely brilliant. Couldn't care less about the cardboard backdrop, or it was Salacious Crumb, wasn't it? I think was the other you know, there wasn't a lot of thought that went into those tiers apart from the brand new tooled Luke and the Bones. You know, the Bones looked awesome. I would have loved to have had them, and obviously the Rancor. But yeah, it pisses me off that TVC got Ariel Shoes, you know, even though he wasn't actually backed. You know, they should have locked him away, you know. Sorry, TVC fans, I'm just a little bit bitter because you got something and the Black Series community didn't, okay, you know. But yeah, I would love that, Luke. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2027, guys. It's, you know, I gotta be selective still. However, regardless of what I buy, I've gotta be selective, because it could. Oh God, if they bring out some stuff which I just can't say no to, and I don't, and I'm trying not to get FOMO too much these days. You know, I'm trying my best to be a little bit regimented and disciplined with what I buy. But oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait. I don't know when they're gonna start putting like previews out of the 2027 stuff. I think TVC are going to get quite a lot as well. I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised. I just only hope, you know, touch wood, I only hope they sort out the pricing, because I really don't want 2027, you know, that big 50th anniversary, to be blighted by Hasbro releasing a much wanted item, you know, in the community, you know, and then they give it an MSRP of, you know, which is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, let's say for example, they released in a deluxe set, you know, as a kind of a vehicle set. Let's say they did a brand new C-3PO, a brand new R2-D2 with the escape pod from the Tantive. 2 figures and the escape pod, okay? Fully detailed, fully articulated, weathered, you know, screen accurate as much as possible, and maybe like a little sand kind of base which it can fit on. Imagine if they did that in TVC now, and then they put like, I'll talk British pounds, but if they released that and in British pounds it was something like 130 quid or something, you know what I mean? I would be, oh, I would buy that. See, I would buy that if it come out regardless, because I think that would look cool on a shelf in my house or something. And obviously I'd love it in the Black Series. But if they pull these kind of stunts where the pricing is just ridiculous, I don't want that to blight the celebration of it. You know what? We've already had years of, you know, fanboys going nuts about, you know, the Disney buying Lucasfilm and stuff. You know, oh, you know, Disney's ruined Star Wars and all that. They haven't. You know, it's just because people don't like Disney. You know, for many reasons, and some are valid, some are not. But I personally don't think Disney ruined Star Wars. I think what ruined Star Wars, if we're going to talk sequel trilogy, was basically the lack of a plan. You know, they started off strongly with obviously The Force Awakens, and all they needed to do was just either keep J.J. Abrams on to do the trilogy with a coherent story, or insist that, you know, when Rian Johnson was writing the script, he basically, you know, took the stuff that began in The Force Awakens and enhanced it. But I'm not going to hate on Rian Johnson. I think that poor guy's had enough, and I didn't mind The Last Jedi for a lot of the ideas. But it just needed to be coherent, you know, and that was the thing. We could have had a really strong trilogy of films there, to be fair. But yeah, you know, I went off a little bit off track there. But yeah, 2027, I think, is going to be an absolutely banging year for Star Wars, and for Hasbro, and for fans. I think we're going to see some absolutely brilliant stuff coming out. I really do. I think between now and now in January, I think it might be a little bit quiet. We might get a few teases here and there, I think. I don't know if we're going to get another wave of figures before the end of the year now. I'm not sure we will. Could be completely wrong. We normally get something around November, December, you know. So that'll be interesting to see. I got a feeling that we might start seeing maybe a couple of figures from the Ahsoka Season 2 series. Again, like I've said in my previous video, I'm not really going to be delving into a lot of post Return of the Jedi stuff at the moment. I'll watch it, but I don't think, from a collecting point of view, I don't think I'm going to be collecting a lot of it. It all comes down to the figure. It all comes down to, you know, whether or not it's like a unique alien. You know, I don't mind it. I don't mind buying aliens from later on in the timeline if I can fit them in a kind of a diorama scene, you know, within my original trilogy stuff, like a Cantina Patron or something. You know, it all depends on what the figures are. But yeah, I'll leave that there now anyway. I just wanted to do a little morning chat, just get a few thoughts off my noggin. But I'll get this one posted up. But if you like the channel, please subscribe, send me a like, and I will catch you on the next one. All right, take care. Bye bye.